Is this your home?
Yes.
What's with you all of a sudden? Being all polite and inviting us over?
Ah, you're back. Quick, come help me see if this painting's all straightened. Huh? Who are they?
Stop making a fuss. They're obviously guests.
You're not from the academia, are you?
I'm unsure she's seen you before. You're that person from that time in that one place!
Wait, what? How do you know me? Oh no, do people know that I live here?
What? You're embarrassed only now of all times?
Oh, you guys are roommates!
Yes, we are, but keep that to yourselves. Please, don't tell anyone else.
I keep a few books on collectives and the subconscious here at home. I'll get them. You all chat in the meantime.
Hey!
Hey! You're leaving just like that? What's the deal, Alhaitham? Sorry, I know we've only just met, but I have to ask. Are you, you wouldn't happen to be actors that Alhaitham hired to pretend to be his friends, would you?
What?
Guess not. I've never seen him invite friends home before, so please excuse my surprise. You guys get it, right? You know, with his temperament and stuff.
But aren't you friends with him?
I wouldn't say friends exactly. Okay, well, we used to be, but we're not anymore.
Huh?
Don't worry about it. My name is Kaveh. I'm sorry to have met you under these circumstances. Anyway, please don't say anything about me living here.
You seem like you got a lot going on. So maybe Samora will make Paimon shut up.
Are you serious? How could you? Of course. You're Alhaitham's friends.
What? That was a normal response. You exposed your own weakness.
Still, why do you have to treat me like he does?
Judging by the deafening din coming from the living room, you all must be getting along quite well.
Entertain your own friends, why don't you?
I'll leave the books here.
Paimon's dizzy from reading. This is way too complicated. Why don't we just ask questions instead? Paimon wants to know, oh, how did you know about the collective consciousness's weakness?
A year ago, Siraj presented his thesis to the Grand Sage, who offhandedly asked for my opinion. I actually responded with 2 lines of reasoning. The first, as I've already said, was that his research was on human evolution, a subject prohibited by the academia. The second was that I thought the direction of his research was too extreme, but his approach too conservative.
Wait, that's too conservative? He built such a large lab, gathered all those people, and even tried to get rid of you!
One way to stabilize a collective consciousness is to remove the test subject's humanity altogether. The optimal solution to achieve collective consciousness is to focus solely on the overmind and treat the other test subjects as tools.
That's way too dangerous! You're not seriously considering that, are you? 'Cause, whew.
I'm merely stating the facts. If Siraj had done that, I would have felt his work to be just as senseless. It's impossible for any species to evolve overnight, and humans without their humanity cannot be called humans. That's why the academia prohibited research into human evolution. Most research of this kind tends to run contrary to evolution.
Huh. Paimon gets it now.
Ha! That's rich coming from you. If humans aren't humans without their humanity, then you'll probably evolve into some other species in another decade, I wager.
What about you? Are you going to devolve into a fungus?
At least I'd be a fungus with empathy. Sorry for eavesdropping, but what happened to you guys? Are you in trouble?
Sort of. We encountered a strange researcher that had it out for us.
Are you all okay? Huh, so that's how things went. Such is life. If only he'd known, Alhaitham could have stayed indoors today, and the whole thing could have been avoided, right? Plus, he could have helped me with the housework for once. See those books? They've been sitting there waiting for someone to sort through them for an age. If you're not gonna read them, tidy them away. They don't belong there.
Can you feel the awkwardness in the air? I hope you're aware of your lack of conversational skills.
Oh, so the pot's calling the kettle black, is he? Well, having said all that, are you okay?
I'm doing quite well. Much better than that painting you're trying to hang on the wall.
You don't understand anything. Stop criticizing my taste in decoration.
Paimon can't tell which of them is more problematic. Let's just get this over with and leave.
You whisper very loudly.
Oh, yeah, Paimon's been told that.
Do you have any more questions?
Let Paimon think. Oh, by the way, the other researchers apologized to you. They hope that you can forgive them.
I bear them no ill will. More accurately, I don't really care about what they think of me. To some extent, they were also fooled by Siraj. The Matra will take this into account at their trials.
Ilias also said that he wanted to tell us the truth at Gandharvaville, but he didn't have the courage. He apologized to you, too.
It doesn't matter. I never considered asking him to come forward with the truth. Judging from his experiences, he's more courageous than the average person. There's no need to lay even more criticism on him. Criticizing the brave only shows how weak you yourself are. I'm going for dinner in 10 minutes, so I'll field one last question.
Paimon doesn't have any more questions. How about you? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. You only started investigating with the Matra at the Academia because you were interested in something, right? But after meeting Siraj, it didn't seem like you were interested in him or his experiment.
I had no interest in him personally, but I was curious as to why so many people were willing to form a collective consciousness with him. I now understand the reason. Correct. The fall of the sages and the shutdown of the Akasha terminals deeply affected the academia. The fact that Siraj's project attracted so much interest despite not being approved speaks to the lack of research projects as of late. As the acting Grand Sage, I'll have to figure something out. In addition, what happened to Ilias is worth our attention. Reporting academic fraud was the right thing to do. He didn't deserve the outcome that he had received.
Paimon understands now. Oh, you're pretty serious when it comes to work, huh?
I think minimum viable seriousness is a more apt description. I'll do my best to take care of this mess until my resignation is approved.
Wait, your resignation?
Yes. I've already submitted my resignation to the Academia. Soon, I'll resign as the acting Grand Sage and go back to being its scribe. I don't think Siraj knew about that. If he had waited just a few more days before acting, I would have already resigned. What he'd do then wouldn't have been any concern of mine. However, even without my input, his unstable model would have collapsed for some other reason, so it makes no difference.
But why do you want to resign?
I'm not suited to be a sage, nor do I want to be one. The official process to select the new sages is already underway, but this process is long and takes far too much time. If I serve as acting Grand Sage for too long, the position might become permanent. That would be troublesome. This job isn't something I want to spend the rest of my life doing. It's important to keep your priorities straight. Well, it's about time. You two should grab some dinner as well.
Oh, now that you say that, Paimon's kinda hungry. See ya! We're gonna grab some yummies!
See ya.
The name Siraj doesn't ring a bell. Was he in your class?
He isn't someone who would leave an impression, so it's expected that you don't remember him.
I've always had a hard time appreciating the way that the Academia pressures people by labeling them as geniuses. But even so, the Academia can't be left to you. Or perhaps I should say that I'm delighted to see that you have a base amount of self-awareness. If the people in the Academia haven't gone mad, they'd know that I'm much more suited to be a sage than you.
And I suppose they'd let everyone know that your career as a sage will be as shaky as that painting.
Again, that's mighty rich coming from someone about to resign. In a few days, you'll be managing files again. You'll be back at rock bottom.
But my salary will likely stay the same.
Wait, what? How come? Why do you get special treatment?
At least I don't have to be an architectural designer who works himself to death just to get a smile from his client.
You... I took time out of my day to clean the living room for you, and this is the thanks I get for it? I'd have been better off catching up on my work. I still have designs to finish.
Make sure to pay back the rent you owe me. I'm going to buy some furniture with that Mora.
What? Are you trying to annoy me to death? The decorations you buy keep getting uglier and uglier. What's the point of having a boring wood carving in your house?
You'll have to blame that on my financial freedom.
Fine. Go ahead and hide behind your financial success if you want. But if we forget Mora for a second, do you have anything of true value to boast about?
I think I'd have too many choices, to be honest. You, on the other hand, can you think of any redeeming features at all?
Artistry, for sure. You don't know the first thing about interior design. Don't go off buying random furniture unless you take me with you.
So I'll have to bring you along and then buy you drinks?
Of course.
But why would I do that? It would just be another form of a loan, and you'd have to pay me back eventually.
Can't you just be nice and not ask for the Mora back?
Pretending that you're not in debt is as ridiculous as pretending you're not living in someone else's home. Word will get out sooner or later.
Speaking of which, your friends won't say anything, right? Tell them to keep all this a secret.
There's no need to hide it so carefully. I think the truth's already out. You're such a lightweight that a few drinks at the tavern had you spilling all your beans.
What? No, it can't be. The name Siraj doesn't ring a bell.
He isn't someone who.
I've always had a hard time appreciating the way that the academia pressures people by labeling them as geniuses. But even so, the academia can't be left to you. Or perhaps I should say that I'm
And I suppose they'd let.
Again, that's
But my salary will.
Wait, what?
At least I don't have to be an architectural designer who works himself to death just to get a smile from.
You... I took time out of...
Make sure to pay back the rent you owe me. I'm going to buy some furniture with that Mora.
What? Are you trying to annoy me to death? The decorations you buy keep getting uglier and uglier!
You'll have to blame that on my financial freedom.
Fine!
I think I'd have too many choices, to be honest. You, on the other hand, can you think of any redeeming features at all?
Artistry, for sure! You don't know the first thing about interior design. Don't go off buying random furniture unless you take me with you.
So I'll have to bring you along and then.
Of course!
But why would I do that?
Can't you just be
Pretending that you're.
Speaking of which, your friends won't sing.
There's no need to hide it.
What? No, it can't be.
Strange. Paimon's heard lots of people talking about this academia extravaganza thing earlier. Wonder what that is. Maybe there'll be fun things to do there. Let's go to the academia and have a look for ourselves. Paimon's trying to remember. What else did we put on our shopping list? Oh, what a mouth-watering smell. Paimon would know the aroma of biryani anywhere. Let's go get some. We can still add it to the list.
Well, if it isn't the Traveler and Paimon. Wasn't expecting to see you here.
Hello there. Oh, it's been quite a while.
Huh. So you two are still hanging out together. Dia, didn't you say last time that you were gonna head back to the desert?
I said I was going to resign from being her bodyguard, not that our friendship was over. We're still the best of friends. The Homayanis also still post jobs from time to time. Their pay is always generous, so me and the other mercs never pass them up.
I told Dia to just stay at our place when she took one of those jobs a few days ago. My parents were delighted. They even said that it always felt like we were missing someone whenever Dia wasn't around.
That sounds like something they would say, all right. They're always so welcoming. Anyway, the job is already taken care of, so I was gonna head back to the brigade as soon as I finished a little shopping. But the master kept insisting, and I ended up staying for another day.
You can stay for as many days as you want, Dia. Father hasn't even gotten around to treating you to his best dishes yet.
You know I'm not the kind of person to stay put in one place like that, my lady. Don't worry, though. There'll always be next time.
But she said they'll treat you to the best dishes. Paimon can't believe you can still refuse that.
But wait. Didn't you say last time that you would take me on a trip to the desert? Why don't you just take me with you today, when you leave? There are so many places I still haven't visited yet.
I'm sorry, my lady, but no can do. There's still a few things I need to take care of back at the brigade. Besides, the desert hasn't exactly been the most peaceful place lately.
Oh, come on. Not this again. That's also what you said last time and the time before that.
I know, I'm sorry. Just give me some more time, and I promise I'll plan the best trip ever for you.
All right, fine. To be perfectly honest, it's not that I wanted to go, it's more like I feel like something is off about you lately. Ever since you first set foot on the estate a few days ago, you've been acting anxious and even paranoid. Have you been delaying our trip because you've run into some kind of trouble?
Nah, are you kidding? You're worrying too much.
Would you swear on that? Friends shouldn't lie to each other, you know. I wouldn't pry any further if you're willing to swear on what you just said. But if something really is bothering you, then just tell me. You know I'll help you however I can.
Oh, looks like Dunyarzad was onto something.
You're too perceptive, my lady. Seems I can't hide anything from you. I just thought that nothing good could come out of telling you about the messy happenings of mercenaries. Knowing too much only leads to more trouble. Mercenary life is a dog-eat-dog world where Mora reigns supreme. Everything operates on a completely different...
That doesn't change anything about what I just said, though. We're still friends, and I can only support you if I understand what's bothering you.
My lady... You're not gonna stop until you drag it out of me, are ya? All right, I'll share what I know. Let's go somewhere else first. This isn't exactly the best place for a discussion. Okay, let's talk here. Just try not to draw any extra attention. As you may already know, the Eremites have both a lot of mercenaries and a complex organizational structure. Many mercs are no different than me, just going around looking for jobs to earn some mora. My brigade is called the Blazing Beasts. We're not a large group, but every member is loyal and brave. However, not all Eremite brigades are like mine. Some are willing to cross all kinds of lines for the sake of mora. The most notorious is a faction known as Deshret's Relics.
Deshret's Relics? Judging from the name, they must really look up to...
Yep, you got it. I've heard that you've already crossed paths with Ain al-Ahmar. They're one of the groups under the Relic's banner.
Oh, you mean the group that tried to sell us the Divine Knowledge Capsule? Yeah, they weren't friendly at all.
Deshret's Relics is composed of many smaller brigades like Ain al-Ahmar. The Relic's headquarters issues orders to all brigades under his control. On any other day, I would want nothing to do with them. Unfortunately, though, the brigade that's stirring up trouble now is none other than DAKAN al-Ahmar.
DAKAN?
I think it means beard or something. Believe me, it's a really stupid name. I found it insufferable for years. Anyway, the real issue is that DAKAN al-Ahmar is led by my father, Kusela.
Say what now?
I think I'm starting to understand your anxiety now. But what did they do?
I won't go into details, my lady, but they've been involved in a lot of violent incidents. We're talking hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yep. The scenes tend to be quite gruesome, too. They strip the victims of all their valuables before murdering them. Not only have they targeted merchant caravans and ordinary citizens, but other mercenary brigades as well.
That's beyond terrible. They won't even spare their own kind.
I don't know how Deshret's Relic sees it. All I do know is that DAKAN al-Ahmar has become more and more aggressive over the last few years. If I don't do something about them, then even my brigade or the people of Aru village could become their next target. I just wish I knew what's driven him to do this.
Yeah. How can your father do such terrible things?
I don't know. People change. He's always been pretty pathetic. But at least in the past, there were still a few lines that he wouldn't cross.
That's setting the bar pretty low.
I mean, if he was even remotely decent, then why would I have to leave the brigade and cut all ties with him? He was loud and foolish, with no real sense of purpose. Instead of doing anything useful, he spent most of his time drinking and chasing after women. Of course, the other brigade members were just like him. Their ruckus would go on night after night.
Sounds like a nightmare.
What about your mother? Did she ever step in to stop them?
Unfortunately, I never knew my mother.
I'm sorry, Dia. I didn't know.
It's all right, my lady. That's pretty common in mercenary circles. Didn't I mention that my father was chasing after women? I was the result of one of those encounters with some random person. He told me that he wasn't sure who my mother was. And in any case, she never came to see me. He'd say, "You'll be fine as long as you remember to stick with Dad." But even then, he left most of the parenting to the brigade. The one thing I do remember is that he used to tell me stories. But the problem was that he had terrible taste. He only knew a few stories, and even those tended to be pretty stale. They were tales of desert warriors defeating dragons in the forest, or stories of mercenaries rescuing princesses from rebel armies.
Sounds like your typical fairy tales.
More or less, yeah. They were interesting maybe the first or second time around, but after about 20 repeats, they started to get a little dull. He seemed to think those stories were the best things ever, though. He was so into them that he'd call the whole brigade over and make them perform the whole thing as a play. Even the toys he gave me would all be story props. I'd get helmets, shields, and toy swords. It was only much later when I realized that the shows were more for him than they ever were for me.
What an interesting guy.
Yeah, I've always found him pretty childish, but that was something I could just shrug off. I had no reason to despise him. Until I grew up and learned the true face of Deshret's relics for myself. Looting, blackmail, violence, and fraud. They not only accepted such heinous acts, they would even openly boast about them. No one in the brigade was any kind of hero. Instead, my father and his cronies were more like the bad guys that needed to be taken down. Did they really think that as long as they didn't do any of that stuff right in front of me, I would never know?
I think I can understand your feelings. The difference between perception and reality must have hit hard.
Yeah, but don't worry, my lady. It's all water under the bridge to me now. I had a huge argument with my father and left that place behind for good. I'm not investigating them due to any bitter feelings I still have towards my father. I just want to protect those that are close to me. Yeah, I told the boys to gather as much information as they could. Most of the reports concern violent incidents, but there's also some talk of smuggling.
I see. But isn't this investigation incredibly dangerous?
It is, but every mercenary lives life on the edge. It's a lifestyle that I enjoy.
That may be true, but it'll be impossible for those who care about you not to worry.
Well, now you get why I didn't want to share any of this with you.
What should we do? They both have valid concerns.
Huh? But there's no need for you to get caught up in this mess, too.
Well, she's super tough, so if she went into the desert with you, then Paimon bets the problem will be solved in no time.
I'm inclined to agree. I'd feel a lot more at ease if you took her along to help. I'll wait for news from you in the city until then. Please, stay safe.
I'm honored that you care so much for me, my lady. All right, then let's get moving. Our first stop will be Caravan Rebot, where we can catch up a bit with my fellow mercs.
I'm super awesome.
Please be careful. I'll stay in the city and wait for news from you. Just don't do anything reckless, all right?